the world. But today, or this evening, we have a special, very, very special professor that come from United States. His name, as we shown in the flyer and then also in the backdrop, Professor Imam Muhammad Basar Arafat. And then also, what is special from the professor, he not just teach at the university, North Rotterdam, USA, for Professor of Islamic Studies, but also he become the president of a big organization in Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Washington, D.C. It's called Civilizations Exchange and Cooperation Foundations, or it's short, and can be said by CCF. And he is the founder of Al-Basir Seminary. Itu seperti sekolah gitu ya, level S1 gitu. But the university, the seminary and the organization has arranged so many programs that you will hear next when he speak across the world. So he is an ulama, he is an imam, and he is the president of a big organization in US. Okay, he teach through his program of CECF Al-Basir Seminary. He empowered imam, ulama, and also religious leaders, interfaith religious leaders across the world. So now it's about 46 countries work with the Imam Basar and his organizations. So 46 countries. You can imagine he speak as a ulama to the 46 countries. And especially for the program of youth empowerment, he already work with the 75 countries. So we hope by bringing Professor Imam Basar Arafat here can inspire, can empower, and can work with us, ulama program of Mosque of Istiqlal, to go to the global. Not just speak to Indonesian, not just speak to the local, but more speak to all over the world. Inshallah. Amin. Amin ya Rabbal Alamin. Keep applause to him. I speak here as the representative of the leader of management of ulama program of Mosque Istiqlal. Just give a brief description about the program. The program is a partnership program between the Great Mosque of Istiqlal and an Institute for Quranic Science with Minister of Finance that has the most wanted scholarship in Indonesia called LPDP. So this program is fully funded for all students. From they wake up to they sleep, they get paid by the scholarship. Big applause to you all. That's why, Imam, we expected to get 100 every year from the scholarship. But in front of you, just around 70 from all over Indonesia who can get the scholarship. Big applause again to you all. Right. So there is Imam from Aceh, Sumatra, to Imam from Papua. Not just male imam, but also next female imam, inshallah. Inshallah, amin. So like I say, Imam, 25 of them join a doctoral program that mix between men and women, and then also specific from master's degree for men and also master's degree for women. Then all of this, inshallah, with the partnership with CECF Al-Basir Seminary, inshallah will go after the third semester for short course in overseas. Inshallah, amin. Tepuk tangannya yang besar dong. Okay. And then also, I will share. Sorry, I cannot speak Arabic. Okay, now in English. Okay, because all of you very good in English. Okay. Okay, so now I share with you that inshallah after the third semester, you all will go to overseas. Amen. Yeah, amen. And now Imam Arafat, he had said thanks to him, cancel off his schedule for visit 7 countries, if I'm not mistaken. Beliau harus mengcancel 7 agenda dengan negara lain hanya untuk mengurusi pendidikan kader ulama Masjid Istiqlal. Ya, kenapa? Karena bukan karena apa-apa, bukan karena of course with his long friendship with Professor Nasaruddin Umar, Grand Imam, and also with our visit to US, but also he saw that this program is very, very important for the Muslim, for all the world, right, Imam? Okay. And then, Imam, I will proudly to say the Women Ulama program is the first in the world that has postgraduate program. You give applause to yourself all. And that's every day with me, Imam. So there's every day with me, and then also other. So now, without any more further speak about what we will, he will speak to us. Now I'm back to the moderator, and I think I end my speech. And please enjoy this time, okay? Raise any questions, respond whatever to Imam Basar, because he's the one that will be in charge for our short course, inshallah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Ibu Rosita, for the speech. And next, نحن سنسمع جميعا المحاضرة الغالية النافسة في هذه المناسبة. فربما هذا ما سمي ب global dialogue. We can speak in 2 languages, English and Arabic. And I think Mr. Imam Basar Arafat very good in this both language, English and Arabic. So if you have question now at last, you can raise your hand and give the question in Arabic or English. Okay. نحن ننتظر هذه الفرصة لنسمع جميعا على بكل احترام. هيا نسمع كلام من المحاضر اليوم، فليتفضل مشكورا مأجورا.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا وحبيبنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن اهتدى بهديه إلى يوم الدين. يا ربنا لك الحمد، يا ربنا لك الحمد، يا ربنا لك الحمد، كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك ولعظيم سلطانك، لا نحصي ثناء عليك أنت كما أثنيت على نفسك. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. يا رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. وإن شاء الله واجعل لي وزيرا كلكم من أهلي إن شاء الله هنا من إندونيسيا. I'm really coming to Indonesia to find وزير. ما معنى واجعل لي وزيرا من أهلي؟ هارون أخي، يعني من يساعدني. The work that I have started long time ago, now it's no longer about Muhammad Bashar Arafat. It's about training who is going to continue and to follow up. Because Bashar Arafat will die and you are the one who are going to carry the message. But by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, my Sheikh, rahimahullah, is the one who started this work in the 60s when he went to America in 1966 when he came back after spending 2 months lecturing all over the United States in 1966. When he came back, he said, if I spoke English, probably I would not have had come back to Syria, because I have seen the people in the United States are searching for Islam. Now, for me, I say, one day in Washington area maybe is equivalent several months in other countries, because you can do a lot and a lot and a lot. Let me just share with you my pain. My pain that a lot of Muslim scholars today are not doing the needed research and study, and they are relying on either the yellow books, you know the yellow books, right? They are relying either on the yellow books or the books that written by scholars maybe in the 70s or the 60s, but they did not have tajdeed. There is no tajdeed. You have to have tajdeed all the time, because there are things new happening all the time. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had something called an-nasikh wal-mansukh. ما ننسخ من آية أو ننسها نأتي بخير منها أو مثلها ألم تعلم أن الله على كل شيء قدير. ما معنى الناسخ والمنسوخ؟ يعني things are changing all the time. That's the meaning of الناسخ والمنسوخ. I'm not talking about today that we have something nasikh in Islam. After the death of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, everything اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم وأتممت عليكم نعمتي ورضيت لكم الإسلام دينا. That's we understand. Everything is closed. But there are new issues coming up. If we don't have scholars who are traveling all the time and seeing what's happening, they cannot give answers, because we say in the Sharia, الحكم على الشيء فرع عن تصوره. You cannot make fatwa if you don't have tasawwur about something. So, before I said here that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent Mu'adh ibn Jabal إلى اليمن, فقال له يا معاذ بما تقضي؟ قال بكتاب الله. قال فإن لم تجد؟ قال فبسنة رسول الله. قال فإن لم تجد؟ قال أجتهد رأيي ولا آلو. فضرب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم على صدره وقال الحمد لله الذي وفق رسول الله لما يرضي الله ورسوله. That's why I'm here to tell you that there are new things happening. One of these new things, that Islam and Muslims are growing a lot in America and in Europe. In Indonesia, a lot of youth, mashallah, all over. But I do not see scholars from Indonesia coming all the time to give talks and lectures all over America. Do you see that? Not yet. Those who are going to do it are you. That's why I'm here. Are you? So what I would like to say here, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed this Quran to be recited by the believers every generation, and Allah will inspire you in this generation in a way that the people before you did not make tafsir based on our situation, because they didn't live in our time. So to give you something that's, as I said upstairs, I don't know how many of you heard my talk upstairs today after Jumu'ah. Anybody have heard me speaking today after Jumu'ah? Few. What? All of you. I spoke about فَأَتْبَعَ سَبَبًا ويسألونك عن ذي القرنين قل سأتلو عليكم منه ذكرى إن آتيناه من كل شيء سببا So Allah is saying we gave him a lot of blessings, but he himself was amazing in structuring things, organizing things, knowing how to do things. So he did his job also. ثم أتبع سببا. And then after that, in the same page, Allah kept saying ثم أتبع سببا ثم أتبع سببا. What I want you to do is ثم أتبع سببا. You have work to do, you yourself. So that's why today we call what I'm doing religious diplomacy. What is religious diplomacy? Nobody in the Arab world talks about religious diplomacy. But in America, everybody talks diplomacy. So that's why I'm here to tell you that there are so many issues happening in America and in Europe. And just a few days ago, you had G20 in Bali. All the presidents were here. Everybody loves Indonesia. Loves Indonesia. Now, this is just between me and you. But Indonesia also, and the imams and the scholars, they need to know how to put proposals and projects and give it to the politicians in England to say, we can do this and this and this in partnership with you. To give it to the politicians in France, in Germany, in Belgium, in Holland, in America. But if you don't know how to write the proposal and to create programs, then the people will come, enjoy Bali, and then they leave. I want you to give them 50 proposals and to say, we have those people, they speak excellent English, those people, they speak excellent Chinese, those people, they speak excellent Dutch language, they speak excellent French, because the whole world today is looking and afraid from Islam. And they are afraid. And everybody is, uncomfortable. That's why, from my perspective, I live in Washington. I see, as I'm seeing you, how there are groups. They come to Indonesia, they study the society. They go to the Middle East, they study the society. They know who is more extreme and who is more moderate. So they get closer and closer to the extreme. And then slowly, they give them money and they encourage them to do terrorist acts. And then later on, also there are other groups who are very expert in making videos and making media. They take pictures of them doing terrorist things, and then they share it all over in the media overseas. Who are those groups? You have to find out. But this is, the whole war on terrorism today is business. Okay? It's business. I told somebody in America, I said, show me one Muslim country is fighting the West. There's no one single country fighting the West. But who is fighting the West? Al-Qaeda, Boko Haram, Al-Shabaab, ISIS. طيب, who are those? They are not graduate of Al-Azhar, not graduate of Istiqlal, not graduate of moderate. Who are those that the media in the West showing them 24 hours, killing somebody, beheading somebody? And then I say in America, excuse me, but who are those? Muslims are 1.8 billion around the world. Those people, they don't represent even less than 1%. They don't represent. Why you are showing them 24 hours all over the media that they are the representative of Islam? So you know who is behind making you look extreme and terrorist. Who is going to change this image? You and me. You and me. But the others, they are expert in creating media, in buying, time here and there. So, let me just go back to things that will not put me in trouble. You have to understand the global game. Okay, there is a game, and you have to understand that. You have to read yourself, because I cannot tell you, because it will be a problem for me. But you have to read, you have to Google, and you have to see who is paying who, and who is recruiting who. Now, let's go back. Welcome to America, inshallah. Welcome to these programs, and you have to be ready for this topic. The topic is being global ulama, opportunity and response for global peace and understanding. But let's start with being global ulama. Most of your curriculum that you are studying here needs extra things in order to become global ulama, in order to become global. Now you are excellent for Indonesia. You speak excellent Bahasa, Indonesia, and you know the culture, everything. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent His messenger rahmatan laysa lil Indonesiyin aw lil Arab, lil alamin. And He Himself back then spoke Arabic language, because Arabic was the language in Arabia, and He Himself allowed the people of Arabia to read Al-Quran with their accent, which now today we have it as what? Qira'at. What is Al-Qira'at, Al-Saba' and Al-Ashar and Arbatash? It's different accent of the tribes of Arabia back then. We have to be aware of this cultural diversity in order to be global. So global today, let me just give you the current of global issues today. You have war in Russia and Ukraine, between Russia and Ukraine, right? You have a war in the Middle East between the Palestinians and the Israelis all the time. You have issues in Lebanon. You have issues between Iran and other countries. You have issues in Africa, East Africa, West Africa. But those, a lot of it is really related to either cultural wars or political wars or religious wars. You need to be prepared. By the way, the Quran is giving us answers to all of that. In order for you to be a global ulama, first of all, you have to, learn good English if you want to come to America. I think, let me talk as if you are all coming to America now, okay? I'm not going to bring Europe in the middle. America has a lot of interest in Southeast Asia because of China. So Indonesia is so important for America. Indonesia also has amazing culture, peaceful culture, diverse, harmonious relationship. Everybody is living in peace with each other. It's wonderful. I have seen from traveling, that Malaysia, which is next door, have issues that I don't see it in Indonesia. You go to Thailand, there are issues between southern Thailand, Fatani, and then out. And you go to the Philippines, people until now want to have their autonomous region in Mindanao region, and because I did programs there for 4 years, every year going with the embassy. I spoke with the people in Mindanao once. I said, okay, if you want to get your autonomous region, because somebody once asked me, in America, are you trying to have your autonomous region? I laughed. I said, if somebody will hear you in America, I would laugh. Why for me to have my autonomous region in Florida? Are you okay? Okay. Why for me to have autonomous region to live in Florida where I can live all over the United States? If you got your autonomous region in the south, in the Mindanao, which is 1 out of 13 province, I guess they call it, how you are going to reach out to the entire Philippines? So that's where you need to speak a global, not local. An Indonesian ambassador, when he saw my conference in Washington, he said, wow, Imam, you need to come to Indonesia and do this conference in Papua Island. There are some tensions. We really need to train our imams also to be local, how to address issues in Indonesia, because I read and I see other groups. I'm not going to tell you in which country, you have to read yourself. They are coming to Indonesia and they are doing a lot of their own agenda. Their own agenda. And you have to be aware of that. But that's for another topic. That's why for you, I would like to end by this. Sometime when I travel with different U.S. embassies, people tell me, but how come you are coming to us through the U.S. embassy, and U.S. embassy is doing this and doing that in Iraq, not U.S. Embassy, but U.S. When they had, occupation of Afghanistan and in Iraq, and I say, well, I'm an American citizen like any other American, and I'm coming to speak to you about Muslims in America. But I know America has different programs around the world. Where is your programs and your agenda in America? This is an open world. You can do whatever you want as long as you are doing something good. My question to all of you, what is your strategy in America? Because America has a strategy in Indonesia. The question to you is, what is your strategy in America? This is something, normally, we don't study it in Babul Tahara and Babul Al-Hajj and Babul Mu'amalat, because we need different fiqh for today. We need different fiqh that will make you kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat linnas, will make you rahmatan lil alameen. So in order to have that, you need to ask yourself, okay, so what is our agenda for the whole world? Our agenda is وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. So do not be shy. I say that in Washington all the time. And I tell people in Washington that the Muslims in America are the best assets you have in America, because through Muslims in America you can build bridges with all over the world. I came from Syria a long time ago. So again, in our fiqh and in our Sharia schools today, I don't see curriculums teaching the people how to create programs in Texas, how to create programs in Chicago, how to create programs in New York, how to create programs in Washington. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I want the people in the United States to see the beauty of Islam that I have seen in Indonesia. My wife is from America. My wife, she was in the army, and then she left the army after she finished. She came to Maryland, she worked in a church. Later on, she found a book on Islam. Muslim women, by the way, she thought, Muslim women are oppressed. Oh, miskin, this woman. But when she read, wow, is that how Islam treats women? She got another book. Anyway, she became Muslim. Inshallah, you will meet her. And then later on, she lost her job in the church when she became Muslim, and she put the scarf on her own. Later on, she came and she worked in the masjid where I was just arriving to be imam. But my point is this. After she became Muslim and then we got married, her family in Ohio, when the neighbors knew that she married a Muslim from the Middle East, an Arab, They kept always coming and knocking at the door. How come your daughter married a terrorist? How come your daughter, how come he's going to run away with the kids to Syria? Those people are. Her mother, she was always watching. And I didn't know that she's watching, but after 15 years of our marriage, she will tell me, hello, Muhammad, I think you need to forgive me. I said, for what? You didn't do anything to me. Okay, you just need to forgive me. It took her 15 years to realize that, you know what, I'm not a terrorist. And her daughter is happy. We have 4 kids, wonderful. She said, you know what, now, if anybody says anything bad about Islam, I will tell them, be quiet. She used another word. I don't like to use it here. I don't like to use it here. But my point is, when the people see, then things change. So I have seen also, the people are judging us based on what they are seeing on TV. Based on what they are seeing on TV, Hamas, and the TV show them only one side. They don't show them the other side. They are showing them people killing others, and they say this is Islam. They show them Taliban. They show their women with niqab. They show them all the negative things. But guess what? They don't show Indonesia. Wallahi, they don't show Indonesia. They show. So that's why I feel, in order for us to build a better relation between America and the whole Muslim world, Indonesia has to lead. Has to lead. The women have to lead. The men have to lead. So I'm here to help address those challenges, because if you want to be global, there are so many challenges. One of them is the language. One of them is the cultural issues. What do I mean by the cultural issues? For example, once I went to a church, when I first came to America, I was giving a talk in a church, and when we finished, some American women came to me, and one of them, she said, "Thank you very much, Imam. That was really amazing." I was having my turban and still coming new, and I said, "Well, thank you very much." I didn't shake her hands. I said, "Well, thank you." For her hands was like that. And I said, "Thank you." Ooh, in America? That's kind of an insult for a woman, to... And I saw her face changed right away. And I told her, "Excuse me, I did not mean to offend you. It's just, in our religion, I try to follow, we don't shake hands with women, but we just greet like that. We put our hand like, but I don't mean any disrespect." She said, "Well, I understand your culture and your religion, but in America, we do shake hands." Then she put her hands one more time. I said, "Okay, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah, thank you." But that was a lesson for me, that next time, if you want to go to a church and you are not going to shake hands, explain to the people before. Explain to the people before. We don't mean to disrespect. Or not to look at them, because in America, if somebody is talking to you, if you don't look at them in the eye, that is disrespect. And for us, sometimes we have ghaddul basar. Lowering the gaze, you don't look. And I felt that, sometimes they take it as an insult. You are doing ghadd basar, but they are taking it was. So you have to explain. By the way, in our religion, we are asked, وَقُلْ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ يَغُضُّوا مِنْ أَبْصَارِهِمْ وَقُلْ لِلْمُؤْمِنَاتِ يَغْضُضْنَ مِنْ أَبْصَارِهِنْ. Those issues, they take it in the wrong way if you don't explain it. I will end by this. I was in a church talking. This is just 2 years ago, just before COVID. And I took with me one of the delegations from Kyrgyzstan who are coming to participate in our programs. And I told in the church, I told them, by the way, of course for us as Muslims, we don't believe in the crucifixion of Jesus. For us, Jesus was not crucified. Now I'm talking in the church, and here's the cross, and they have somebody, Jesus, like on the cross, crucified. And I told them, for us as Muslims, this is what the Quran says, وَمَا قَتَلُوهُ وَمَا صَلَبُوهُ وَلَكِنْ رَفَعَهُ اللَّهُ, and the ayat. And when I finished, a lady came and she said, may I ask you a question, Imam? I said, yes. She said, I want you to know you really, really insulted me very much. I said, for what? She said, since I was baby, to me, this cross represents everything. And you are coming and saying, this is all nothing. For you, you don't believe in that. I just want you to know, that was really an insult for us. I said, I want you to know, ma'am, I really do not mean to insult you. I was just explaining to you, for us as Muslims. And then I explained to her, finally she accepted, but that was a lesson for me, that if I'm going to talk about crucifixion in the church, I have to say at the beginning, before, excuse me, that I do not mean to be disrespectful to you, but I would like to explain to you how we as Muslims believe about the issue of Jesus. The lesson was that before you say, you have to say, excuse me everyone, I don't mean to insult you. Because in our religion also we cannot insult others. But I'm explaining to you also how we view the issue of Jesus' crucifixion, how he is not the son of Allah, he's son of God, but he is the Word. وَكَلِمَتُهُ أَلْقَاهَا إِلَى مَرْيَمَ. So, this is just some examples, but I would like to talk more because I promised the brother who has been looking at me like, hey, stop. My time is up. But I love you. Wallah, I love you for this. Wallah, but I don't mean to be disrespectful. But I want you to know that this program is very important. But before you start, you need to be always kind so you don't hurt people's feelings. And there are so many issues like this. In America, when the people see that you are trying to be kind and respectful, wallahi, that will make big impact on them. This is a story happened with me, and I promise that this is the last thing. Just last Ramadan, I was doing a Zoom, not this Ramadan, the one before, on spirituality during fasting with Islam and Christianity. The flyers was everywhere. We started the presentation, and then we were talking, and then one girl, she asked a question. The camera is off. Okay, I'm just hearing the voice. When she spoke, and she said, during her question, she said, oh, by the way, I'm a Muslim, and I became Muslim through Imam Bashar in 2009. That was just last year. And I was like, you became Muslim through me? Who are you? And she said, I became Muslim once I met him in Florida, and I asked him a lot of questions, and he was so kind that he did not say no, even though my questions went for 2 hours and a half. Honestly, for me, I forgot the whole issue story. I don't remember. Yes, I go to Florida for our conferences, but the imam, the main imam, he is my friend. And sometimes I go, and sometimes he asks me to lead Isha, Maghrib. Because later on, I told her, when she said that she said I became Muslim later on, 2 years after my questions with Imam Bashar, I kept. But his patience with me impacted me a lot. I said, excuse me, can you turn the camera on? She turned the camera on. A sister, she said, and I looked at her, wallah, I did not recognize her. And until now, I don't recognize her. But she was a sister without a hijab. She lives in California right now. She said, I became Muslim. I said, could you remind me when this happened? She mentioned a masjid, which I thought that was the masjid of my friend, but I don't remember the story at all, wallah. But she said that I asked you questions after question after question, and it went for 2 hours and a half, and you never complained. My point is, your kindness impacts people. Even in the train, or in the plane, or in the bus. But we will talk more. Let me stop here and take your questions, please. Are you happy?
Okay, anybody now time to question and answer? Who want to ask the question? Please raise your hand and say your name. Yeah, please.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name Muhammad Abdul Aziz. I'm from PhD program here. Thank you, Imam Basar, for this opportunity. I'm happy also to witness that there are a lot of American people who search for Islam. So this is the great chance for us. To my reading also, there have exist some reformer, as you mentioned, like Abdul Hamid Abu Sulaiman, Ismail Al-Faruqi, who founded International Institute of Islamic Thought. However, we know also that in terms of culture, American culture have influence to the Islamic teaching. For example, in their Islamic centers in the universities, to some extent, some of them, they study Islam as merely a science, not a science. Said they study Islam merely as a science, not also as a set of ethics to perform. So my question, in terms of intellectualism, how far is the extent of American culture to influence the Islamic teachings in general? Thank you, Imam.
Thank you very much for your important question. Please just keep it there, because other people will ask. By the way, we would like to hear one from the boys and one from the girls. So we have also from the sisters. Yes, a lot of Americans, really Islam for them, it depends whom you are talking to. Islam for them is something new, because Muslims maybe 10 million, 12 million in America, which is 320 million. So a lot of them, especially who are beginners by studying Islam, it depends on who is teaching. I hope when you come to America, I would like to help you go to different universities so you can give a talk, a lecture for like say 10 minutes, 15 minutes to the American students, so you can see by yourself the reaction. They are, for them, Christianity is different than for us Islam. For example, I took with me a group of priests to Morocco, part of the study. We have study programs. By the way, we are bringing them here to America, inshallah, to Indonesia. We took them to Morocco, and one of them, she said, and she is a priest in a church, she said, wow, every time we stop in a rest area, I see a small musalla, and I see people praying. I mean, either Zuhr or Asr or Maghrib. She said, everywhere we stop, I see people praying. She said, in America, we don't have that. In America, people come to church on Sunday and that's it. And then maybe they can pray on their own. But for them to go to a musalla and pray. So that was a big observation for them. For us, we didn't pay attention to that. We took them after Maghrib in Marrakesh to see Taraweeh prayer. They were amazed to see the people outside the masjid, especially youth, all of them praying. They said, wow, it seems that the whole town is coming to pray. They said, we don't have that for us as Christians in the churches. We see that mainly, maybe probably the church is packed. Maybe we see it in Christmas, but we don't see that. So they do study that from a science perspective, yes. But as they go with the study, then they will understand the concept of adhan, the concept of salah, the concept of masjid. They didn't understand that. They didn't experience that. They need some time to have the feelings that you are talking about. So they start studying it as a science, and if they continued, they end up either Muslims or expert on Islamic studies. And here where I always tell the people there is a difference between studying Islam at the university versus studying Islam at an Islamic center. Because when they are studying Islam at an Islamic center, you have an imam who lived that religion, that faith. You could feel the love talking versus somebody who's just giving a talk and a lecture. So yes, they start that through science, and we have a church. They study Christianity through, they call it the Church of Scientology, or anyway. Another question, please, from the ladies section.
From the sister. Yeah. Oh.
No. Give them the mic, and somebody has to ask questions.
Okay. Please.
Thank you. Go ahead, sister. First, welcome to America, inshallah.
Okay, it's okay here. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Can you please bring the mic close to your mouth, because I cannot hear.
Okay. I will try. As you said before, maybe the language barrier will give us not an opportunity.
Your name, sister? Your name, please.
Agak keras ya.
Dr. Rosita.
Can you hear me? Okay, clear? It's clear?
Just bring it closer to your mouth.
Okay. No, it's okay here. Di sini aja. Mungkin ini udah lebih keras.
Yeah, now better.
Okay. Because I'm nervous, can I say it in bahasa? Maybe him can translate. No. Okay.
No, your English is good, but just speak. Go ahead.
Okay. Like you said before, that the news in US that always portrayed the Muslim world like kind of terrorist, and I always read before there is a misconception in the idea of terrorism in the world. Like I was read some book that read there that right there about the terrorism, not in individual act, but in this fase or in this era, the terrorism, the state is on the government side.
Who?
On the government side.
Okay.
Yeah, the terrorism that produced by the government, like you said before, when you said when we see the terrorists, Al Qaeda or ISIS, is not alumni of Al Azhar or Istiqlal that learn a proper Islamic studies. There is someone behind who give them a support, a donor, so they do what we can see now. And for me, I read that Islam, as you said before, you have a many experience when you first time visit America. When you just adjust with the culture, when you want try to seek a hand of the woman, it's not allowed in our deen. It's not allowed when we seek a hand of a woman. But our in other hands, our deen is also give us by Allah is human-centric deen, not theocentric. I mean, like Allah said, or Nabiullah Muhammad said, "Antum a'lamu bi urumud dunyakum." Like I mean, what the challenges you face when you are stay in U.S. country, as we know, like there is a lot of culture that against Islam, maybe like shaking a hand, or you see people eyes when they speak, how you try to balancing that kind of culture as you stay at genuine Muslim also.
Thank you. So she is going to hear from you also the main question you would like to ask.
Okay, I mean,
so what's the question?
Maybe I can transfer a proper question, but I just want to calling the context. I mean, maybe you can understand what I mean. Maybe I just try to put in Bahasa.
So can you summarize in Bahasa, please?
Okay.
Summarize in
Gini, Ustaz.
in half a minute.
Mungkin. Oke, ya, I mean, mungkin Bu Rosita atau Ustaz bisa menyampaikan. Saya ingin tahu tentang pendapat beliau. Teroris saat ini itu apakah adalah aksi individu atau semata-mata bahwa ada organ besar di balik terorisme itu yang ingin menjatuhkan Islam misalnya di mata dunia. Itu yang pertama. Lalu bagaimana beliau bertahan sebagai seorang muslim yang still genuine di negara barat, yang mana saat beliau banyak bertoleransi misalnya shaking hand gitu. Sementara yang kita tahu bahwa agama ini kan sifatnya humanik sentrik gitu, bukan teosentrik yang semata-mata hubungan kita hanya tentang langit, kita dan langit dan Allah maksudnya, tapi kita dengan sesama manusia gitu.
Okay,
nah seperti itu yang saya mungkin buruk tadi. Terima kasih.
Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay. 2 point.
Can you listen, please? Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Sister asked about
Dr. Rosita, can you please summarize?
terrorism.
So the question is, what do you think about phenomena of violent extremism? Because according to her, it's not about Islam. So what do you think about the Imam? And the second one, based on experience as Muslim, how then you in US react to that? Because it's sometimes affected by media, etc. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, I mentioned to you, hello? Are you, hello? I mentioned to you that today a lot of people in America, they see also how Islam is one thing and terrorism is something else. And there are a lot of people, experts, they know also how these terrorists somehow are also serving the agenda of others. So that's why we know that from my perspective, the whole issue of terrorism is business. Is business, and some people are playing this business, in a very, very disruptive way. And we keep always responding, Islam is a religion of peace, Islam is a religion of tolerance, Islam is a religion of kindness, Islam is a religion of moderation. And everywhere I turn, I see these conferences about those topics. Moderation, kindness, tolerance, acceptance. But then I see other people are doing bad things, and we need to start also partnering with other churches and other religions to say, excuse me, did you read that report? Did you read that report? So that's why I want you to come to America and see by yourself. The whole program, by the way, is for you to come and see by yourself. So when you come back, you can write your own articles, you can make your own research, so you can continue to follow up with the people I'm going to take you to visit. Because unfortunately, with the previous delegations, when they came back to Indonesia, they did not follow up with these institutions that we took them to speak with. So I want you to keep in mind the fiqh of فآتيناه من كل شيء سببا فأتبع سببا or ثم أتبع سببا. I call this the fiqh of follow up, to follow up. So that's why this program is really to help you to go and meet with think tanks, to meet with universities, to meet with people in the street, to meet with intellectuals, and to tell them who is really doing more terrorism, states or individuals. Okay? So again, we live in an open country, free country, because sometimes some other people, and especially when you go and read what happened from 200 years, that's why this Black Lives Matter, have you heard of Black Lives Matter? Created a lot of sympathy within the American society, that the whole America, changed because of this Black Lives Matter. So again, creating awareness and educating people in America is extremely important, and educating people in Europe, because somehow the true informations are not getting to them. The true information. This program meant to create opportunities for you to understand where the other are coming from, and for you to educate others, and how to create programs. Even when you come back to Indonesia, you can start it and you can continue. For me now, even if I will live in an island, just give me internet and good communication and phones, I can create a lot of programs while I'm sitting in this island. So when I came here and I saw yesterday or the day before yesterday the voice of Istiqlal, You guys have here some facilities at the Voice of Istiqlal. You can change the world. You can. Wallahi, have you seen this Voice of Istiqlal? The facilities? But you need to know how to use it. And you need to partner with other people for free in America. When you know some people in different universities and you invite them to come on Zoom. They are Americans, they are white, they are yellow, they are brown, they are black, they are all colors. And you can use it. But in order to do that, you have to have good networking. Good networking with churches, with schools, with universities. So I think the value of your program coming to America is to introduce you to the methodology of studying religion, to the issue of research, the libraries, the intellectual depth. Because people in America, they read a lot. So that's why I really feel in so many ways when I'm there in America that I'm in a Muslim country. The only thing missing is Masjid to say Allahu Akbar for Asr and Dhuhr and Maghrib. But other than that, MashaAllah, driving, she knows the streets are very well defined. People follow the rules, follow traffic system. I mean, in so many ways. I'm not praising America, I'm saying the truth. That there are good things over there, but also I see Indonesia has amazing things also. If we can mix both, will be wonderful.
Thank you very much to open our mind about fikih dakwah, about dakwah global, and to give aware to our dati, become rahmatan lil alamin.
Amin.
Amin. Okay, Bu Rosita, maybe closing statement from Professor.
No, not yet.
You?
One more question is.
One more question.
Oh, still more. Okay, Ma'am. Two more. Okay.
Okay.
Please.
Ada ya?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Bisa. Tanya tentang.
أنا هنا. لا. أنا هنا. Yes, I'm here for you, okay? So don't worry about the time. We can stay until Fajr tomorrow. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. My name is Ali Tontogi. I have actually two questions. The first question is about your experience, how to reconcile among, conflicting school of Islam, like for example between Salafi and between Salafi and Al-Sunnah wal Jama'ah, because maybe one of the reasons why we as Indonesian Muslims are not busy, are not able to promote Islam of Indonesia outside Indonesia, because we are still busy with our conflict inside our Muslim society, for example between Wahhabi and Al-Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Do you have any experience how to reconcile among these different kinds of Islamic school? And the second question is there any specific curriculum in your short course how to manage this kind of conflict? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please keep in mind what I will be saying right now. Please keep in mind what I will be saying, because what you asked about, this is really distractions. Okay, 1 second. Okay, close to my mouth. I would like you to pay attention to this. Subhanallah, every time I read Surah Al-Kahf every Friday, I come to this ayah. Listen to this ayah. وَيَقُولُونَ ثَلَاثَةٌ رَابِعُهُمْ كَلْبُهُمْ وَيَقُولُونَ خَمْسَةٌ وَسَادِسُهُمْ كَلْبُهُمْ رَجْمًا بِالْغَيْبِ وَيَقُولُونَ سَبْعَةٌ وَثَامِنُهُمْ كَلْبُهُمْ. What was next? Huh? This is, I want you to pay attention to this. قُلْ رَبِّي, Allah is telling the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, قُلْ رَبِّي أَعْلَمُ بِعِدَّتِهِمْ. Don't waste your time, 3 or 4, 5 or 6, 7 or 8. قُلْ رَبِّي أَعْلَمُ بِعِدَّتِهِمْ فَلَا تُمَارِ فِيهِمْ إِلَّا مِرَاءً ظَاهِرًا وَلَا تَسْتَفْتِ فِيهِمْ مِنْهُمْ أَحَدًا. Means, this issue is worthless. Do not waste your time with a worthless issue. Do not waste your time. يعني 3 or 4, 5 or 6, 7 or 8, يعني what are you going to get out of that? خلاص قل ربي أعلم بعدتهم فلا تماري. This is my point. فلا تماري فيهم إلا مراء ظاهرا. يعني don't spend too much time. خلاص الله أعلم. فلا تماري فيهم إلا مراء ظاهرا ولا تستفتي. Well, let me go and ask Imam Nasruddin, maybe he knows. That you are going to waste Imam Nasruddin's time, because even if he's going to spend half an hour searching for the answer, if you got the answer, so what kind of benefit you are going to give the ummah if they were 5 or 6 or 7 or 8? You see what I'm saying? To me, Muhammad Bashar Arafat, this ayah means do not waste your time, Bashar, with something. Wahhabi said this, Salafi said that. I don't have time. For me, I don't have time for this nonsense. Put your hand here, or put my hand there, or put my hand. I have no time for this. How much your beard should be, qabda, or that's. I don't have time for this. So there are some Muslims today, they are unfortunately missing the point that their enemy are making them busy with those issues, to waste their time and let them focus on global issues and keep you discussing, is this bid'ah or not bid'ah? Is this, you see what I'm saying? So pay attention to this ayah. فَلَا تُمَارِ فِيهِمْ إِلَّا مِرَاءً ظَاهِرًا. يعني you don't have to go deep. Just من الظاهر. وَلَا تَسْتَفْتِ فِيهِمْ مِنْهُمْ أَحَدًا. You don't have even, I'm not saying that about your deen, but sometimes خلاص, يعني it's clear, it's new. Let's move to something else. A lot of those group, if you ask about their agenda, global agenda, they don't have agenda. They don't have. They only have agenda to waste your time and to distract other people's time. And that's why, by the way, that's why, look today at Saudi Arabia, what's happened. Muhammad ibn Salman came and he said, hey guys, this is all, let's move to something else. So now they want to change everything. Why? He is saying, go and read what he said to BBC, that this Wahhabism was requested from us during the Cold War era. So please open your eyes and read and see how others sometimes are playing with the Muslim minds around the world. And they are forgetting. So that's why, because the Muslims in the last 100 years, they got busy with those kind of things, and others are creating iPhone and Samsung and giving it to you, and we are still talking bid'ah or not bid'ah, and they are giving you the Mercedes and the BMW and Toyota, and you are still saying how long my pants should be, and isn't that true? So please pay attention to that. That's why we have to realize these issues and go beyond that, because our kids are living our religion. Our kids, some Muslims here, are leaving Islam completely. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Are living Islam completely, and we are still talking, sister, your hijab is this, sister, your hijab is that. That's what I wanted just to answer. Who's the one who asked the question? You got my point? فلا تماري فيهم إلا مراء ظاهرا ولا تستفتي فيهم منهم أحدا. Other question, please. Yes, please. I'm sorry, what's the other question?
The specific curriculum in your short course, how to reconcile different kinds of Islamic school, for example.
Okay, I shared the curriculum with the sister. He's asking about the curriculum of the short course. The short course in America, the curriculum is for you to visit different universities and be introduced to the Islamic studies or religious studies in general. Is for you to be introduced to different organizations who are doing interfaith activities, outreach, interreligious, to see how they are doing it. Is for you to visit some think tanks, Marakiz Abhath, and to see how they are preparing studies and statistics. For you to visit different libraries and to see how you are going to make research on different issues and different topics. One of the things I would like to add to that is for you to visit different spiritual groups who focus on spirituality. In the Muslim world, they call it Sufism, but I would like to go back to the concept of the Quran. The Quran called it Tazkiyah. Rasulullah sallallahu when Jibreel alayhi salam came to him in a form of a man, في الحديث الذي يرويه عمر بن الخطاب رضي الله عنه, أتانا رجل شديد يعني سواد الشعر لا يرى عليه أثر السفر. You remember that hadith, right? فأسند ركبتيه إلى ركبتيه. And then he asked several questions. One of them, قال ما الإحسان يا رسول الله؟ قال أن تعبد الله كأنك تراه. أن تعبد الله كأنك تراه. That's spirituality. You don't get to that maqam of ihsan until you do a lot of zikr and meditation. Buddhist, I was in Japan before, they took me to Kyoto. When they want to take the tourists in Kyoto, I don't know how anybody went to Kyoto or Japan? Okay, mostly in Kyoto. Do you know where they take them? Different mountains and different places where monks used to sit and meditate. Kyoto. To me, this is all khalwa. Yani, it's almost like Hira. Wallahi, it's all over Kyoto. They kept taking us from this mountain to this mountain to this mountain. They have a lot of spirituality, but they don't have the Quran. The Quran did not focus only on لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل لرأيته خاشعا. The Quran did not focus on هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الملك القدوس السلام المؤمن. That's spirituality. Some people, my sheikh was the head of the Naqshbandi order, okay? Some people, they focused on zikr and they left fikr. And they left يا أيها المدثر قم فأنذر. They like just to stay, in the masjid and doing the Dalailul Khairat and doing Adhkar and doing Quran. This is all wonderful. But when are you going to get up to Abu Lahab and Abu Jahl and Abu Sufyan? You see what I'm saying? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not stay up in Ghar Hira. He went down and Allah told him, يا أيها المدثر قم فأنذر وربك فكبر. But it cost him 13 years of challenge in Mecca. And his Sahaba, some of them got killed, some of them migrated to Al-Habasha. I think if he could have had stayed in Hira, it would be more beautiful, more nice. Islam is Hira, and then go down to Mecca to Mushriki Quraysh. And then you have to deal with the whole thing. So we need to combine both spirituality and fikr and da'wah. And then as-sabru ala idha'i nas. المؤمن الذي يخالط الناس ويصبر على أذاهم خير من الذي لا يخالط الناس ولا يصبر على أذى الناس. So we have a lot of challenges. The course is going to show different segments of life in America. Next question, please. Yes, sister, go ahead.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. My name is Karina. Maybe
I'm sorry, say your name and then what are you studying? Master or PhD?
Pardon? Oh, I'm a master.
Okay,
master.
go ahead.
Okay, maybe my question is so basic, but I'm always curious about the opinion about you as a man ulama, maybe about how the women empowerment of Islam or on Quran, in your opinion. How about the women empowerment in Islam and or Quran, and how the condition of the circumstance in U.S. As you can see about that?
Thank you
Yes.
very much.
Thank you.
Women in America in general, I'm not talking about the Muslim women now. I'm talking about women in America are very outspoken. Sister, they are very outspoken. They are everywhere, participating in the daily life, like here in Indonesia. But I see here in Indonesia a little bit, women are shy to speak. I understand that al-haya'u min al-iman, which is important, but also Rasulullah sallallahu used to say, خذوا نصف دينكم عن هذه الحميراء, right? About Aisha radiallahu anha. She would speak, and other women from the Sahabiyat will speak. By the way, we have a whole surah called Surah Al-Mujadila, right? And it starts with what? قد سمع الله قول التي. One second. تحاورك. Listen, I'm asking that for a reason. تحاورك أو تجادلك. تجادلك. What's the difference between تحاورك and تجادلك? تجادلك في قوة. فقال لصاحبه وهو يحاوره. He didn't say فقال لصاحبه وهو يجادله. But this woman is not making تحاوره, تجادله. قد سمع الله قول التي. Every time in America when I read it, I say Subhanallah, Subhanallah, how Allah is giving women empowerment. She is not making hiwar. Hiwar, you know, has kind of adab or jidal. This is a little bit different than hiwar. And Aisha radiallahu anha says that she was far, but she saw the Sahabiya asking, and she said, Ya Rasulullah, Zawji qala anti alayya ka dhahri ummi. You know the whole story. And he said, well, ma araku illa taluqti. Yani you are a divorced woman from him. She said, excuse me, Ya Rasulullah, I'm not divorced. How come I'm divorced? And then Rasulullah will keep saying, well, yani, at that point, al-dhihar bima'na al-talaq. Until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Jibreel alayhi salam in support of who? The woman. The point is, tujadiluka. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but I'm always, amazed how the women stand up and speak without any fear. As somebody who grew up in Syria, I feel the culture over there is for the 1-year-old, 2-year-olds. If he wants to say something and his mother, his grandmother, if he says something, hus, husulak, hus. So Okay. And then when he is 3 years old, if he wants to say something, huss! And sometimes, unfortunately, some people, they will, so with this kind of culture, so you will see sometimes the kids are afraid to say something. I don't want to offend, I don't want, versus over there, I see the parents, they never have something called, huss, be quiet. Your uncle is talking. Everybody listen. And I feel how this from early childhood give the children confidence. Confidence. To say whatever they want to say. Sometimes they are wrong, but they say it with confidence. I see people in other cultures, sometimes they have good things, but they don't have the confidence. You see what I'm saying? That's from early childhood. I see it with my wife, okay? With my wife when she is talking to the kids. When we went to Syria, my mother told me, I was amazed how your wife, the way she is talking to the kids with a lot of patience. So again, we have to pay attention to that because this is very important in our culture, to let the kids speak. And do not let them, huss, be quiet. You don't say that to your mother, to your father. I think you can educate, but do not take away the confidence from the children. Let them speak. So that's why I just wanted to say this quickly. But I see also the Muslim women who are growing up there are impacted by the culture over there. So they are speaking up their minds, leading demonstrations. And I really see that also here in Indonesia, and I look forward to see more. And I really felt so happy to see Imam Professor Nasruddin Omar empowering the women, giving them their space. And I think, I did not hear this, but I think he's getting some criticism from other Muslims, I guess. But I'm so happy to be here because I feel I'm partnering with the right person. Other questions, please?
Oh, the last question.
That is the last question for now. Okay, but for this you can send us email and WhatsApp.
My name is Moyes. I am from Master's Degree program. I have two questions. The first, what is the requirement of the to be global ulama? Sometimes I still confused about a lot of requirement of global ulama in modern and traditional perspective. Because when someone is considered as ulama, someone is have place to do something. For example, teaching at Islamic boarding school. The second question is it enough for us to make a campaign about global peace and understanding, or we have to have other knowledge to be considered a global ulama? Thank you.
Let me start with the first one. I mean by the global imams, those who are on the road to become rahmatan lil alameen. So that's how Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was a global imam, who was not for the Arabs. You see what I'm saying? But inna anzalnahu Qur'anan Arabiyan, as far as its language. But the message is global. That's what I mean. And in order to become global, by the way, it took me maybe 20 plus years work to be where I am right now. I'm not saying that you will go to America, you will come back and everything will be... this is a process. This is a process. But you have to keep in mind that, by the way, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us so many stories about so many prophets, about in different times, and for different cultures. And it's really wonderful to see how Surah Al-Qasas, talking to us about Bani Israel, about Musa alayhi salam, about his mother. The Quran is really global, and even telling us about something from different corners of life, like Dhul Qarnayn, okay, like Sulaiman alayhi salam. Sulaiman, look at this, about this ayah. Every time I go over this ayah, I say subhanallah. When Allah says قال أيكم يأتيني بعرشها, who can bring me the throne of Balqis, Sheba? فقال عفريت من الجن أنا آتيك به قبل أن تقوم من مقامك فقال الذي عنده علم من الكتاب أنا آتيك به قبل أن يرتد إليك طرفك. Wow. فلما رآه مستقرا عنده. My point is, look at that. What is this? We don't have it today. With all the technology America has, and Russia and China, we don't have أيكم يأتيني بعرشها. Am I correct? This فقال الذي عنده علم من الكتاب. What kind of knowledge is that? You see what I'm saying? What kind of knowledge? That's global issues and topics. This by itself need a conference. أنا آتيك به قبل أن يرتد إليك طرفك. This is beyond America, beyond Russia, beyond China. But the Quran only told us, one story. And who is the one who brought the whole issue? Al-Hudhud. Right? To me, Al-Hudhud represent drone. Right? Today we use drone. Am I correct? We use drone. Sulaiman alayhi salam, he had that drone through Al-Hudhud. We don't have time to go through the whole thing, but that's why when we read the Quran, you have to stop on these verses. Just don't read it just for tajweed and izhar and ikhfa, and for 10 hasana for each letter. No. Stop here. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, قال ربي أرني أنظر إليك قال إنك لن تراني. But then when Musa insisted, Ya Allah, I want to sit, okay, let's do a try and see if Al-Jabal can take this. فإن استقر مكانه فسوف تراني. فلما تجلى ربه للجبل جعله دكاء وخر موسى صاعقا. Just take this. This is not Hollywood. This is reality. This is reality. You cannot read this ayah and keep going without repeating this ayah maybe 10 times, 20 times, and feel as if this ayah is talking to you. How is your relation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And how is these kind of things impact you? So, again, all of these are global issues. Sometimes it makes more, not more sense, but it leaves a big impact on non-Muslims. And I remember once we were having an interfaith over Zoom during COVID, and one Christian leader, he said, I'm always fascinated by verse number 48 in Surah Al-Ma'idah. Verse number 48, Surah Al-Ma'idah. When we finished, I went right away, I opened, what is he talking about? And I saw he is talking about this ayah 48 in Surah Al-Ma'idah, وَلَوْ شَاءَ رَبُّكَ لَجَعَلَ النَّاسَ أُمَّةً وَاحِدًا. By the way, this verse makes a lot of sense in America. So there are certain verses in the Quran makes big impact on Americans. And the last thing I would like to say, one imam in America, he's African American, he passed away, but he was my close assistant, he told me, Imam, I became Muslim when I read this ayah. ولو أن البحر يمده من بعده 7 أبحر ما نفدت ولو أن ما في الأرض من شجرة أقلام. Listen to this ayah. ولو أن ما في الأرض من شجرة أقلام والبحر يمده من بعد 7 أبحر ما نفدت كلمات الله. Do you know this ayah? And what does it mean? That by itself is a conference. This by itself, when Allah is saying, what is kalimatullah? That's another topic that we'll say it in America. Kalimatullah is how to make this plastic bottle. That's knowledge. That's knowledge. That's part of kalimatullah. How to plant the banana, how to plant the grapes, how to make this. That all kind of knowledge Allah gave the son of Adam, how to make this, how to make this, how to make that. That's part of kalimatullah. And Allah is saying, وَلَوْ أَنَّ مَا فِي الْأَرْضِ مِنْ شَجَرَةٍ أَقْلَامٍ. If all the trees will be cut and made pens, and all the oceans are supported 7 times to write the knowledge which is part of kalimatullah, they will be exhausted and kalimatullah will not be exhausted. When you say those kind of things to Americans, they have never heard something like that in the Bible. They don't have something like that. So part of your course is to compare this and ask people in different churches, do you have like this verse in the Bible? Have you heard something like that? Because a lot of them, they say, oh, we have never heard something like that. The way the Quran put it. So again, I hope that these courses will be an eye-opening for you to come back and re-establish your research and for you to become a different human being. Because you know that, you know what, I really can make a change around the world. But I need to, so all of that needs also zikr and tahajjud and sujood for Allah to give you ilham. That's وَأَوْحَى رَبُّكَ إِلَى النَّحْلِ. What is wahi? Nahl يعني ilham. وَأَوْحَيْنَا إِلَى أُمِّ مُوسَى. يعني Allah didn't send here Jibreel alayhi salam, but that's ilham. And Allah also will give you ilham to come up with something, to understand things differently. We need that. And the dua. That's why you saw me answering my parents' call. Normally I don't answer unless if it was my mother or father, because you need the dua of your parents. If they are alive, the dua. Plus your own dua, and then we say, Ya Allah. None of us is perfect, but we are doing our best. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Okay, thank you for wonderful lecture. I think Mr. Professor give us a diamond lecture. So he give us awareness, and we understand that we all here as a diplomat of Allah, to show the world the beauty of Islam as rahmatan lil alamin. Okay, before we close our agenda now, there are many speech from Bu Rosita as closing statement maybe.
Okay, again give a big applause to Imam Basar Arafat. Let me close our public lecture today with some points. Please listen and make notes, okay? The first one is, to be next, we hope through our program, from the first semester, the second semester, the third semester, and go for short course, and you finish your thesis and dissertations, we hope the Ulama program will be to be all of you be next global ulama. I mean, who will respond to global issue for the global communities. And also you will travel the world like Imam Besar Arafat. Amin. Because Imam always say, wherever he go, to Europe, to Africa, to America, very, very few, even no Indonesian ulama. So you will be the next global ulama. Amen. And then the second, postgraduate short course program that will be taken after the third semesters, inshallah, will be a channel or step for that goal, being global ulama. Amen. And then we already discussed yesterday all the details about the curriculums, about the universities, everything detail. Inshallah, we will come out next with the MOU, Imam, on the 23rd of November. I think it's next Wednesday on the afternoon. And then you all be here to witness the MOU between CECF and Al-Basir Seminary, inshallah. Yeah. And then last but not least, inshallah, all of you will meet Imam Besar next in the USA. Amin, amin ya rabbal alamin. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
And I look forward to having a WhatsApp group with all of you. I'm going to give my card as a picture to one of the sisters here and to one of the brothers. Please share it with each other, okay? My card has the WhatsApp, but I would like to create from now a WhatsApp group called the Ulama short course in the US. So I can share with you messages when I travel to other countries. I don't have to respond to each one individually, but in the group, to share with you what's happening and update. Thank you.
Okay.
And we would like to take a group photo when you finish.
Okay. Yeah. After closing, we get picture together here, and we close our agenda by reciting Hamdalah, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin, Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.